morning everyone and welcome to a new video on the channel. It is Saturday the 15th of March 2025 and today we're off back to the International Stadium. It is Gateshead versus Maidenhead United in the National League. So I'm in Gateshead and I'm not going to lie, I am looking forward to next week when the works on the East Coast Main Line will finally be done, because it has made getting up here quite a bit of a mission over the last few games. But anyway, going into this afternoon's game, Maidenhead are currently in 22nd place in the National League table, third bottom in the relegation zone. Them being in a relegation battle, it is a very familiar scene, isn't it? But it just seems as though year in, year out, they'll almost inexplicably get a few results together and manage to claw their way out of it. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I hope they do once again this year, because it is one of my favourite away days in this league. I mean, granted, I'd rather us not be in this league next season and just be one higher, but you kind of get my point, don't you? But hopefully that won't be in any way at our expense, and we're coming into this game in 5th place now in the National League table. We have dropped down a place since last weekend's loss at Aldershot Town, and that is due to the fact that Oldham played in midweek whereas we didn't. But it is a must-win game this for us today, and I think like you look at it, the next 3 games are all at home. Obviously against Maidenhead today, who are in the thick of a relegation fight. Braintree on Tuesday, who have a little bit more breathing space from that relegation scrap. But then against Tamworth a week on Saturday, who in fairness have done a lot better than many people, including myself, anticipated they would. But on paper, if we are wanting to get in the playoffs, then all 3 of them are games that we need to be looking to win. 7 points at an absolute bare minimum, but ideally we really need to be getting 9, and I think a large part of that is what we've got coming up after these 3 games, because within the space of 4 games we've got to travel to Barnet, travel to Forest Green and play host to York, with a home game against Dagenham being the odd one out. So you look at those 3 games against the top 3, I think Barnet away and Forest Green away especially, the odds will be stacked heavily against us. Maybe the York one, given the fact that it's being played up here, the bookies might have it as a little bit tougher to call, but all the same, I think we've got to get back on track today. It doesn't matter how we get the win, just as long as we do get the win. I think today that it is just about the result, the performance. It doesn't really matter a massive amount, just as long as we are on the right end of the scoreline. I think if we can do that, then there'll maybe be a little bit more emphasis on the overall performance on Tuesday and next Saturday, but it is just one step at a time, and I'm hoping that the fact that we didn't have a game in midweek will be something that will serve us in good stead, because it's no hidden secret that our schedule of late has been pretty grueling when you look at the sheer amount of travelling and that sort of thing. It's been pretty relentless, but I think this week's maybe presented itself as an opportunity to get some proper training in, the proper attention to detail and that kind of thing. So I'd like to think that we will come into this one a little bit better prepared, and we'll just look overall that little bit sharper. I think by the looks of things, maybe in the next few weeks or so, your likes of your Terrell Newtons, Kenton Richardsons and Joe Graysons will start to come back into the side. Obviously Ryan Bartley is suspended for this game. I think he's suspended for the Braintree and the Tamworth games as well, obviously as a result of his red card at Aldershot last week. But as we say, it's a really important day this for the club. It's a chance. It's one where we probably have to take some initiative as well, especially when you look at the fact that as I speak, Oldham and Rochdale are playing against each other. The last time I checked, Rochdale were 1-0 up, but in any case, at least one of those sides is going to be dropping points. So it is getting pretty tight in the race for playoff spots now. What was a pretty comfortable situation for us a few weeks ago isn't looking that way now. So I think this next week, I personally think it's going to make or break our season. Let's just hope that we are up to the challenge that each game poses, starting with today's. So let's head on down to the International Stadium and find out how it all unfolds. So the team's warming up. Maidenhead are getting ready in this half. Looks like they could be in a purple away strip this afternoon. Of course, when they are at home, they would play in black and white, hence the nickname the Magpies. And Gateshead are getting ready in the distance. Of course, we are going to be in our white and black home strip. Anyway, I'll see you when the players are coming out of the tunnel and ready to start the match.
How we are the lads! Away the lads, away! Away the lads, away the lads, away the lads, away! My Gateshead! My Gateshead! Shoot! Get it!
last Tony's wife was sitting at the windows again.
Good ball, good. What, Gene? Again?
Play the whistle.
Shoot! Oh, for God's sake, man. See what that was? No, yeah, for one. Oh, yeah. I go you, man.
As you take the half-time break.
Half-time Gateshead 0, Maidenhead United 1. For weeks and weeks and weeks I've been saying that the initial aim for us has to be based around getting a home game in the playoffs, but honestly now I'm not even convinced we're going to get in the playoffs at all. This has just been an absolutely rotten second half of the season, and it's just such basic stuff once again. Yet again we've conceded a goal from a set piece. It's not just like a one-off thing. It is pretty much every week at this point, and it is driving me up the wall. It really is, and it's been once again far too passive. I'm sorry to say, but there's quite a few out there that are just plain not being good enough, and it's as simple as that. We've been building this game up as a must-win game, and we have quite simply not turned up for it. Like Maidenhead just seemed like they wanted that bit more. We're second to absolutely everything. We haven't got a clue in the final third. It's just been an absolute shit show so far. And right now I'm beginning to wonder where's the next win coming from? Where's the next point coming from? Where's the next goal coming from? Where's even the next chance of notice coming from? It is just absolutely dire at the moment, and I'm just not sure how it improves, when it improves, but it's got to come quick. And I know there's another 45 minutes in this game, but right now I'm struggling to see where that moment of inspiration in this particular game comes from, let alone in the remaining 9 or whatever it is.
Huddersfield 2-0. He'll be sacked.
Why else Gene doing that?
John! In the 4-1!
3 minutes of this absolute shite to endure. I'm going to have some words to say at full time, by the way.
Absolute disgrace!
Once again, your attendance 1,811.
Full-time Gateshead 0, Maidenhead United 2. That is the worst performance I've ever seen from any football team ever, and I'm going to tell you how I honestly feel about it. That wasn't down to lack of confidence or lack of quality. That was down to lack of effort, and it's as simple as that. And you look around that team, like there was absolutely no leadership there. There was what was the formation meant to be? Absolutely no pace in the final third. Absolutely no urgency. It was just an absolute shambles from start to finish. And you look at Maidenhead there today, a side that are fighting for their lives. They were you know, that they just wanted it a damn sight more. There was some of our players out there today that didn't break a sweat, and they need to have a good, long, hard look at themselves. You know, like again, the first goal, once again we've not dealt with a set piece, but the second one, there's absolutely, like, there's no hiding place for that. Just a distinct lack of communication, and it kind of reminded me of the Malcolm Crosby days in the early part of the 2015-16 season. Some of the goals that we gave away that season, it looked you know, almost identical to one of those. And as I was saying at half time, like, I personally think that the playoffs is gone now, despite the fact that we are still in a position, because I just don't see where the next, where our next decent result comes from. I mean, obviously we've got another game coming up on Tuesday night at home to Braintree, but again, I just don't see how we get anything out of that. Like, I know on paper you maybe look at it and think that we should be winning that game, but you probably looked at this one today and thought the exact same thing. But you know, I'm not in any way taking anything away from Maidenhead, because I think with the way they went about things today, we could actually learn something from them in terms of effort and desire, just everything. They were better than us in every area of the pitch today. So honestly, I am at a loss after that performance, I've got to say. And why was it taking 74 minutes to make a substitution when it clearly wasn't working? I know maybe we are maybe lacking options. You look at our subs bench there, no disrespect to any of those players, but you know, if something's not working, you don't try the same things over and over again and expect different results, do you? So yeah, it was, you know, everyone there has got to take some responsibility for that. Tactically, it was all wrong. Like, in terms of, as I said, effort levels, energy levels, it was all wrong. What have we been doing in training over this last week? So I came into this game, as I think most people did, kind of thinking, you know what, we've had, like, at long last, you know, we've not had a midweek game, we've not travelled to the arse end of the country, and maybe we'll look a little bit sharper, but no, if anything, we looked more lethargic and less energetic than what we did at Rochdale and at Aldershot. It was so bad that today, and like I did an initial recording of this full-time review, but I couldn't post that one because I've just had a little bit of a walk back to the bus stop just to try and gather my thoughts a little bit, but like, nobody's got any place for hiding there today. It was just an absolute shambles from start to finish. And as I said, like as we say, no one can take any credit for that, and they've got to have a long, hard look at themselves tonight and tomorrow. Like train their nuts off on Monday and show that, you know, that they are willing to fight for the badge on Tuesday, because we just quite simply didn't see that today. And it was quite simple now. We need to come out next Tuesday against Braintree, like, all guns blazing. We've got to show, like, why we're in the playoffs, because in recent weeks we were just quite simple having, and throughout the course of the second half of the season, and as I said, I'm at this point genuinely not even sure we're going to get another point this season, let alone another win or anything like that. It was just an absolute joke that today, to be quite honest. And I've tried over the last few weeks to look at things as reasonably and as logically as I possibly could, try to develop an understanding of the situation, but there's no hiding place today, and it is as simple as that. It was just a grim day, and you think it was 1,800 people showed up to that game today, like 3 times the amount that showed up against Sutton on that Tuesday night. For a lot of them, it might have been their first match or the first match for a while. But on the back of that, would they really want to come back and watch a team that doesn't really, like, doesn't even really want to try, and that's just how I feel. As I said, I'm not going to make any apologies for how I feel, because I think with these full-time reviews, and the beat of my channel is I'll show you the good stuff, I'll show you the bad stuff, but I'll never ever shy away from how I honestly feel. So lads, if any of you are watching this, on Tuesday, is quite simply down to you to prove me wrong in what I'm saying, because I think what I'm saying at the moment, I think a lot of people might look at it and find it pretty hard to disagree, to tell you the truth. But that is that for this video. I'll be back on Tuesday with that Gateshead versus Braintree Town game. So until then, take care, cheers for watching, see you later.